Hello and welcome to the Verbal Teacup. And I'm Meenakshi Padhe Sharma. And today we are continuing our readings with Meenakshi on philosophy. So, these readings will be diverse and I will be taking up different topics and reading them with you on topics that you might be finding boring and lengthy to read, but which are actually important from your point of view. So, let's not waste time. Last time we had done Hegel. So, in case you have missed that recording, please make sure that you watch the recording of Hegel, who was a famous philosopher. And today we start with the Greek philosopher Plato. And Plato was very famous for the kind of reasoning he had given of the city state and how it should be, and different concepts of ethics, morality, etc. So let us try to now understand what and who Plato was, and hear what was he talking about. So let's look at this small article about Plato. Now he was in 427, around 327 to 427 BC, and his works included the ideal state, that is what the state should be according to him, the dialectical method. And about dialectics also, I've made a video on the Verbal Teacup. Make sure that you watch that. What is dialectics, educational programs, and the cultivation of morals. And some people say that Socrates was his teacher. Some people say that Socrates was just a imaginary person created by Plato, and through him, through a series of dialogues, he has written his treatises, he has written his theories and his books as a sort of an argument which Socrates has with different people, and he answers them through those arguments and through rhetoric, etc. So, as I told you, rhetoric and dialectics I have discussed on the Verbal Teacup early recordings. Please search and watch what those are. Okay, so now let's quickly go to his work here. So it talks about that Plato had authored a number of dialogues that depicted Socrates engaging in educational mode of dialectic. And dialectic actually is an argument between two opposing things. So here, like his mentor Plato, suspected that people did not know what they claimed to know. And hence they wondered why rigorous qualifications for rulers did not exist. So Plato said that people could not understand what they claimed to know, and therefore he also wondered that when people are rulers or kings, why should they not be qualified to be kings? So then let us see how he qualified kings. And challenging the sophist's claim that knowledge and truth were relative to the perspective of each individual. Now, these sophists were another branch of philosophy, sophistry, which talked about that what is truth and knowledge is an individual's perspective, and each person has their own perspective about it. And then, he challenged it and he developed his own theory. So epistemology is the theory of knowledge. So Plato developed a theory of knowledge and metaphysics. Metaphysics means something which is beyond science. That suggested an absolute truth that could only be gleaned through. Gleaned means, as you take out the essence of it through rigorous self-examination. So you really work hard about it. And the development of reasoning skills crucial for enlightened political leaders. So he's saying that if you are a political leader, if you are a king, then you have to take out these skills and acquire these skills. And then he talks about the ideal state. So Plato's educational ideas derived in part from his conception meaning his idea of justice, both for individuals and the ideal state. So he was very, very strong in his concept of justice, and he viewed individuals as mutually dependent for their survival and well-being. He said individuals can't survive alone. They are dependent on each other. And he proposed that justice in the ideal state was congruent. Congruency, you understand? It was intermixed with the justice in the individual soul. So he talks about the relationship ki har individual, each individual has got justice inside, some concept of justice, fairness inside him. And he said that the justice in the ideal state, according to Plato, was together with, it was congruency, like in sync with the justice in the individual. Okay, so the state's justice is individual's justice, and they are synced with each other, they are related to each other. Plato's ideal state was a republic. And Plato's Republic is the most famous book that he has written in many parts. So if you get a chance, just go through it, although the language is a little difficult. If I get time, I'll, decode parts of the Republic. In fact, this is decoding parts of the Republic only for you, into three categories of citizens. So his republic, his ideal state, was divided into three kinds of citizens: the philosopher kings, artisans, and auxiliaries. So philosophers, so he called the kings not just as mere kings, he called them as philosopher kings, because you remember, he talks about that this rigorous self-examination and taking out of skills makes the ideal king. He has talked about it earlier, that there has to be some quality in the kings for them to be kings. And then he talks about the other two categories as artisans and auxiliaries. Each of these categories possessed distinct nature and capacities. So they had different skills and capacities. And these proclivities, moreover, so these conditions, the kind of capacities that he talks about, moreover reflected a particular combination of element within one's tripartite soul. Now, tripartite means our soul is divided into three parts, composed of appetite, the hunger inside us, okay, spirit, the skill inside us or the power inside us, and the reason, that is our mind, our mental faculty. Now, if you look at the Indian philosophy, it is very, very similar about the different kind of tattva that is there, the rajas and the tamasic and the sattvic, so here also he talks of appetite, which is the hunger, which is the animal nature, the spirit, which is the fearlessness, the power, and the reason, which is the mind and the mental faculties. Artisans, for example, so the artisan class, according to Plato, were dominated by their appetites or desires, the primal animal instinct. And therefore, they were designed to be the workers who were supposed to produce the material goods. So they were the artisans. Okay, that was the first class. That was obviously the lowest class. The auxiliary. Now, auxiliary is like the middle or something extra and add on, is a class of guardians. So like the soldiers, like the army, like we have. So the generals of the army, they are ruled by the spirit in their souls. The spirit, the power, the zeal, the enthusiasm, and also the strength, and possess the courage necessary to protect the state from being invaded. Means they were the soldier class, they were the general class, the general meaning the general of the soldiers, so the the army class and the fighting class. Okay, so one was the worker class, the other was the fighting class, which was like the army, and for the defense, which was supposed to protect the state from invasion, and philosopher kings, the leaders of the ideal state, the kings, who were supposed to be philosophers, who had souls in which reason reigned over spirit and appetite. So their reason means their minds, their mental abilities, that was supreme, reigned over, ruled over. The spirit, the hunger, and the appetite, the power, and the appetite, the hunger. And as a result, the philosopher kings possessed the foresight. Foresight means the pre-thinking and the knowledge to rule wisely. So that's how Plato divided the ideal state into three categories. And in Plato's view, these rulers were not merely elite intellectuals, but they were also moral leaders in the just state. Just state means where justice is supreme. Each class of citizen has a distinct duty to remain faithful to its nature and engage solely in its destined occupation. So in the state, the class of citizens were decided according to what they were supposed to do, according to the appetite that was strongest in them. And the proper management of the soul would lead immediate happiness and well-being. And specific educational methods would cultivate this brand of spiritual and civic meaning the social harmony. Harmony means the happiness of being together. Okay, so he said that when we are guided by our inner nature, which is of spirit, appetite, or reason, and when we act and we work accordingly, then the harmony in society is achieved, and then the ideal state is achieved. So you can read more about Plato and his ideal state, and about philosopher kings. Actually, it's a very, very interesting read. If I get time, I'll make a special video on the philosopher kings and the conceptualization. I'll share the link of this article with you in the description so that you can read further. And I hope you enjoyed the verbal teacup here. So I'll come back for you again very soon, and somewhere or the other we will be talking about you know many other things. So make sure that you subscribe and you share, and I'll be very regular with these readings also, not just philosophy, other topics also. All right, so this is Meenakshi signing off for today, and I hope you enjoyed today's reading. Bye bye, and do give your feedback. I love getting your comments. Thank you very much. Bye bye, take care, God bless.